Well, welcome everybody. A warm welcome to each of you, especially some of our new members to the Reading Leadership Implementation Council, as well as our returning members. I am Ellen Stoltz. I'm a lifelong educator and honored to serve as facilitators for this group. Please note that every meeting is live streamed, effective now, and the stream is then uploaded to the ct.gov portal. Kati, let's start with taking roll call, please.
Thank you, Ellen. Sorry, I'm just admitting a few people in who are showing up now. I will commence roll call. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Chandra Scott Brown.
Here.
Dr. Matthew Conway.
Here.
Dr. Michael Coyne.
Here. Hi, everyone.
Dr. Margie Gillis.
Here.
Kim Healy.
Here.
Stephen Hernandez. Dr. Melissa Hickey.
Here.
Yasmin Ithir Vicente.
Here.
Dr. Tamu Lucero.
Here.
Dr. Ashley Oldham.
Hello, here.
Dr. James Zabadanchek.
Good afternoon, present.
Thank you, everyone. Roll call is now complete.
And pardon me
Thank
one
you,
second,
Kat.
but I see that Dr. Hughes is here also, and I just wondered if he could introduce himself and do a little welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Hickey. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Charles Hughes. I'm the Deputy Commissioner for Academics and Innovation at the State Department of Ed. Nice to see some familiar faces again, and welcome to all those who are joining us as a part of this very important council. I will try to pop in as many times as I possibly can to be a part of the conversation. So I'm so happy that I'm able to meet you all here today on the first meeting of the year and amongst the new group here. So thank you for your time and your service in this very important work. And I look forward to engaging in the conversations with you all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hughes. Always great to see you. So now that we have had a very prompt attendance, we appreciate that. We prefer to start right at 1 o'clock. We know your time is very valuable. And we thought that we would take a few minutes so that each one of you could introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about your background and how your background and experiences lead to your participation as an active member on the council. So I really have my own list here that we'll begin with, and Dr. Matt Conway, you're first to go.
Good afternoon, everybody. Very excited to participate on this council. We originally participated in the original pilot program for the Science of Reading. Had a tremendous experience. Our entire team did, which the majority of which were teachers and coaches in our district. Great experience. We continued our cohort with Stratford and East Haven for the 2 years following our initial introduction to that. And that's just been an incredible professional learning opportunity for all of us moving forward, and an opportunity to network with districts close by to see, to make sure that we're doing things consistently across districts, not just across classrooms. So we're very excited to continue that work, and I'm excited to be a part of this council and this work as well.
Thank you, Dr. Conway, and always good to see you again, too. The next person to go is our classroom teacher. So I'm very thrilled that Ms. Ithir Vicente is a member of our council. And if you would like to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Yasmin Ithir Vicente, and I am a classroom teacher in Hartford, Connecticut. This is my 8th year, and I was the Hartford Public Schools 2000 Teacher of the Year this past year. This is our first year with Wit and Wisdom, or the new curriculum. So it's been very interesting diving into the curriculum, getting into the science of reading. We did the letters training these last 2 years. So it's been great to see how geodes and foundations is going to be working together with wit and wisdom and writing all together. So it's been an interesting start. It's very in depth and it includes a lot of things. So it's going to be a journey to see how we can dive into it, dissect it, differentiate, look to see how we can use this to help benefit the students. So I'm excited to be in this council.
Thank you so much for your participation. Excellent. Dr. Ashley Oldham.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ashley, and I'm thrilled and honored to be a part of this important council. I am a former special educator in the great state of Connecticut and continued from there to really dive into the research on early reading and getting my doctoral degree here at UConn. And since then have been working with schools in both research and technical assistance capacities to consider ways to support effective implementation. And I really got into this work because I started working with older struggling learners and realized that so much of what we needed to do needed to change in K-3 in order to make sure we had a really strong system. And for the last 10 years, I've been at the University of St. Joseph, where I'm the department chair and an associate professor of education. And here I spend a lot of my time when I'm not reading research and thinking about reading and practice, thinking about how we prepare the next generation of teachers to be ready for the classroom and to be ready to implement the science of reading when they join the schools and communities of practice that you are all leading. So thank you so much. It's great to see you.
Thank you, Dr. Oldham. Pleasure to have you on the council. And Chandra Scott Brown.
Welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Chandra Scott Brown, and I'm the principal at Craig Museum Academy, and I am so honored to be a part of this council as a building administrator for the last 17 years. Prior to that, was also a reading coach, and early reading has always been a passion of mine. And leading a school out of the pandemic was a challenge, and I knew there was a different way that we can instruct reading for kids, but also that we can provide the necessary professional learning for teachers. And so my school have been on the journey for the last 4 years, fully implementing the science of reading in collaboration with Literacy How and Hill for Literacy. And we're just astounded at not only the progress that our students are making, however, but the knowledge gain and the impact it had on practice amongst our entire staff. So I am just excited to be a part of the council, to learn, to grow, and contribute. Thank you.
Good to have you on the council and great to see you again, Chandra. Dr. James Zavandanchik.
Good afternoon, everybody. James Zavajancic. Professionally, I'm the Chief Academic Officer for Fairfield Public Schools, and formerly a elementary school principal, assistant principal, and teacher. I too am excited to be on this committee. I know literacy is a mission critical activity for all of our students in Connecticut and all of our districts, and really the foundation for all education. I sort of joined the science of reading movement, so to say, back when I was an elementary principal. My school was looking at that as a school improvement planning. We joined on a literacy institute led by Tim Shanahan and Margie Gillis, who I know is in the room. And I've been pretty involved with it ever since. So I'm excited to be here and look forward to our work together. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, that's a big thank you to all of our new members. We really appreciate your experiences and know that your knowledge base and expertise will help to contribute quite a lot to our council. But I'd like to continue now with some of our members who have been here for the last 2 years, at least for my understanding. And we will start with Dr. Margie Gillis.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's so nice to see the new folks, and I know many of you, and so it's like old home week. And coming back together with the people that have been on this council for the last couple of years, I'm very grateful. Just to quickly, I'm founder and president of Literacy How. We celebrated 15 years this summer. It's a nonprofit organization that supports teachers pre-K all the way up through high school. And we have mentors. I have a team of 10 people that support teachers in their classrooms. I've worked with many of your schools and districts. Prior to Literacy How, I was at Haskins Laboratories, which is a research lab in New Haven. And there I began my journey working with teachers and dating myself. But in 2000, the Connecticut Blueprint was born here in the state, which was an amazing document that really spelled out the science of readings. That's now 25 years old, but it was the first and probably only blueprint that a state actually wrote and took to heart. So it's been very gratifying to see the evolution of the work that we as a state have done and to see how the Right to Read Act is being implemented. So again, thank you to everyone who's worked on this. It definitely takes a village.
Agreed. And thank you so much for your introduction, Dr. Gillis. Kim Healy.
Sorry. Whoop. Okay. Hi, everybody. Kim Healy. I'm, I guess, part of the original gang. I think it started in February of 22, so it's been a while. You know, happy to be invited back. I know, you know, some of us, well, a bunch of us had to be reappointed after the terms ended at the end of June. So, you know, I am not an educator. I came in, I guess, with the goal of, you know, working with some of our lower performing districts down here. I live in Fairfield County. I'm a select woman here, but have been passionate about reading. Have been, you know, really so grateful to be part of this group. It's done a lot of good work. I see my position going forward, trying to ensure that the legislation is implemented and as well advocating then back to the legislature for any changes that we need. So, you know, looking forward to the next, I guess, 2 years or whatever our terms are going forward.
Good. Thank you so much, Kim. Dr. Temu Lucero, please.
Hi, everyone. It's good to be back. I'm Dr. Lucero. I am the superintendent in Stanford. I am actually, wow, I was just thinking as everyone was talking, like, where did my career begin? It began in an elementary classroom and teaching reading to 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders in Columbus, Ohio. And so just have always been really passionate about reading. And really, as I became a elementary principal and spent 15 years as an elementary principal, spent a lot of time talking about and developing teachers so that we are able to meet the needs of all of our students. Then became the assistant superintendent of elementary here in Stanford. Wow, that was, I'm in my 12th year here in Stanford. Margie, can you believe that? 12 years here. Margie has been a part of the Stanford Public Schools and the work that we've done here. We have participated with lots of different people related to developing our reading program. CKLI was a wonderful initiative that we were able to participate in, and we're really proud to say that we've been working on the science of reading here for quite a bit of time. There are many people of my senior leadership team that this is what we're passionate about, what our elementary principals were passionate about. So we've done a lot of work in this area. I'm also an adjunct professor at Sacred Heart in Fairfield University and have taught curriculum courses at Sacred Heart. So just really excited to continue to have this conversation and to think about what this means for pre-service programs that before people actually reach our classrooms. How do we make sure that the universities are preparing them, especially anyone who is going to teach at our early grades and even in our pre-K programs, special education teachers, L teachers, to be reading teachers first.
Thank you so much, and it's great to see you back again with us.
Thank you.
Dr. Michael Coyne.
Yeah, hi everyone. It's so great to be here with you all today. I'm Mike Coyne. I'm a professor of special education and department head for educational psychology at the NEAG School of Education at the University of Connecticut. Yeah, and I started as a special education teacher in elementary schools, and primarily my work was with students with learning disabilities that were working on developing reading and literacy skills. So that's how I kind of got started and became passionate about reading. My research focuses on developing and evaluating effective reading and literacy strategies for classroom instruction and for small group intervention. And I've been really fortunate and honored to be able to be working with the State Department of Education in Connecticut on reading initiatives, along with Margie and other folks on this call for quite a while now, the Connecticut K-3 Literacy Initiative and the Connecticut Literacy Model. It's really great to be part of this group and supporting the really important and the really exciting work that the center is doing. So it's great to be here with you all.
And we're pleased to have you back. So thank you. I just want to check if Stephen Hernandez has joined in, Kathy.
Yes, I've been here actually. I don't know, maybe my little picture's up in the corner somewhere.
Okay, great. I'm so glad you're here. Would you like to introduce yourself to our group?
Well, it's so nice to see everyone, and I'll tell you, it's the composition of the council is only improving. And is only just really ready to meet the task. My name is Stephen Hernandez. I am now the Executive Director of the Connecticut Coalition for Achievement Now. Previously, the Executive Director of a legislative commission that focused on equity and opportunity, and have worked for many years, as Mike said, for many or a long time, and it seems that way, that we've been doing this work for a long time and building upon it every single year. And what's so exciting is that now we're really focusing on implementation and resourcing. I first served on this council by virtue of my office as the executive director of that office, but now I proudly serve by virtue of my appointment by the Speaker of the House in the legislature. So I'm just happy to be here with all of you. So many wonderful faces in this space, and I'm excited to keep working on this stuff.
And congratulations to you, Stephen.
Thank you.
So I know, Kathy, you're not expecting me to call on you to introduce yourself, but if you'd like to introduce yourself, we would love to hear a little bit about you as our timekeeper and agenda helper and roll call helper and all the other things you do behind the scenes.
Thank you, Ellen. I was not expecting that. That's okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Kativia. I go by Kati, whichever anyone prefers. I have been working alongside Melissa Hickey as her administrative assistant for a year now, officially working here, and it's been a great year, learning everything and just really proud from the outside looking in of the work that has been done when I started a year ago, and really looking forward to the work that will continue to be done with everyone here. Prior to this, I worked at Connecticut Children's Medical Center in the residency program. So it was under medical education, and I was their coordinator. So it's education, but in a different way. And it's been really great being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kathy. I know our time is a little off, I think. No, we have till 1:30, so we're good here. Dr. Melissa Hickey, would you like to tell us a little bit about you?
Sure. So thank you so much. It's so exciting to be here today with all of you, and I'm really looking forward to the next couple of years. Thank you very much. So I started as a second grade teacher in Windsor Locks, and I found out right away that what I was taught didn't really translate to the classroom, and I had learners in front of me that couldn't read. So I was very fortunate to work with others. One in particular was Lisa Bellissimo. Sadly, she recently passed, but she was a reading specialist and she taught me about phonics. That's something that I didn't learn as a student growing up, and it's certainly something I did not learn in college. So she taught me about phonics and phonemic awareness, which inspired me to go back and get my master's in special ed. And then I taught middle school for a while too, reading and writing. And I was a coach, a literacy coach, an instructional coach. And then most recently was in Hartford as the director of humanities, meaning social studies, English language arts, and anything else that fit under that umbrella. And then I came here to the state. It'll be 9 years in January. I came here as the reading director, which also included at the time overseeing the academic office. So I worked very closely with my colleagues in the academic office. Then the legislation came along a few years ago, and my job as reading director at the time was really to ensure that all the initiatives were tied together and we were kind of moving in the same direction, and ensuring literacy across all the contents. So then the newest legislation came around, which has the Center for Literacy Research and Reading Success. I was the interim and then became the permanent director and have been working with the council for the last couple of years, as we've referenced. So there we are. Here I am. I am so thrilled to actually have a staff with whom I meet, my team. They are amazing and wonderful. And Kati certainly did not. Kati's amazing. She's amazing and she does so much. She actually came up with some of the ideas around communications, and it's just a great team. I can't say enough. So we have Candace LeConte and Deirdre Savarese, Cody Fusco, and Erin Edwards. You'll meet them at some other time, but amazing, and thank you all. And then, of course, Irene Parisi, who couldn't be here today, but she's our Chief Academic Officer. And then, of course, Dr. Hughes as well. So great team, very excited, and just so energized by our meeting today. So thank you, Dr. Stoltz.
You're very welcome. So before we go back to Dr. Hickey to continue on roles and responsibilities, I thought I would introduce a little bit of my background. I regard myself as a lifelong educator. Even though I retired from the Bloomfield Public Schools, I started my own business, Improve Your Schools, and I am just still so passionate about education. But the thing that really drives me to facilitate the work here is having a very similar background to many of you. Starting in general ed way back when, teaching first grade, obviously a big focus on reading, couldn't understand why the program at the time didn't have the components of what I thought were effective reading strategies. Those strategies are in the Right to Read legislation. And so after 5 years of saying to my elementary school principal, please move me every year, I even switched schools to be able to teach a different grade, wanting to see the progression of reading skills firsthand. And so seeing that diversity of where students were able to perform back then led me to get my master's in special education. So from one rural school district, I moved to the Hartford schools, where I had 14 different positions, loved every one of them, met several of you along the way, and then to the Bloomfield schools. I also had the opportunity to be an adjunct professor at the University of Hartford teaching curriculum development, which I was incredibly passionate about, looking at other graduate students who would then go out into the world with that hopefully same thinking, standards, content, process, preferably written by teachers, right? Or having teachers' input along the way. So ultimately, it's wonderful to be here. I will do my best, especially when we are virtual, to ensure that I call on everyone who has a comment. Please use the raise your hand feature when we get to some of our conversations. And I'll hit the ball over to Melissa's court to begin the conversation for item number 3 on our agenda.
All right, thank you very much. I also have the PowerPoint in front of me here, so here we go. So our why, how, and what. This was established by the first council, the former council, and we established our why, our how, and our what. That was one of our first tasks. As you can see, our why is really about the kids. Our why is getting the kids to be at grade level, independently and proficiently reading by the end of 3rd grade. The how, we decided as a group that we would be leading through the change, bridging the research, supporting our interest holders, which are our families and the policy leaders and community members, educators, and really increasing the effectiveness of both the learning on part of the students and also the teaching on part of the educators. And then the what, it's by building those systems. We know if we can build a system that will last, it can stay regardless of who's there at the time, and really to support the educators and the leaders. Dr. Conway did mention the masterclass. We've talked about that as a group here. The Connecticut literacy model was also mentioned by Dr. Coyne and Dr. Gillis and Dr. Lucero and Stephen Hernandez, but as something that really helps districts to put those structures in place. So it's building those structures and ensuring they're culturally responsive, evidence-based, using that research to drive the teaching and the learning around our practices, our strategies, and our structures. So that's our how, why, and our what. I'm just going to advance to the next here. So as you know, we have been charged, not only the center, but also the council, with legislated goals and responsibilities and outcomes. You can see that we have places that we need to go. There's a lot that we have accomplished over the last few years, and there's still a lot more to go. But here you can see what are the roles and responsibilities. So this is my role as the director. I oversee the center activities that are aligned to the legislation and supporting educators. I communicate these activities to all of you and also to the field, coordinate the dissemination of the information, the tools, the services. We have a lot of professional learning. So in the past, I would have some time during council meetings to update all the council members as to what we were doing to provide supports to districts and to charter schools. We have 180 districts and charter schools in Connecticut that have K-3, so they are impacted by legislation. And also to consult with all of you. You're out in the field, you're out there, you're hearing from our constituents, our interest holders, and reviewing the issues. So the legislation is clear. We need to be talking about that implementation. So how is it going in the districts and the charter schools as they're implementing those approved programs and curriculum models? On the other side, you'll see where we were doing the balance. So the council, your responsibility is to provide input to us in the center, to provide that input on how things are going. Communicate the activities that the center is doing to the field. So the professional learning, the grant funds, and we have districts who come forward to share. So we have a lot of exciting things, and we're really hoping that you can help get that information out, which is number 2, that disseminating. And then also sharing, as I referenced, those successes and the challenges that you're hearing around the implementation of the programs, of assessments, of the legislation, including the provision of technical assistance. So those districts who did not get the waivers, who were not found to have waivers that were approved, they get all first dibs on any of the professional learning that we have. So we're really putting a lot of focus and energy around supporting them and then supporting others with this change. It's been a big change. So this is not an exhaustive list, but these are kind of the high points. We did share this last year as well. Ellen, is there anything that I neglected to mention so far?
No, I think you've elaborated on the elements there, but maybe what we could do is stop for questions.
Okay, and then I was also going to ask Dr. Hughes if there's anything he feels that can be added.
I think at this point in time, it's part of the conversation moving forward, but thank you, Melissa.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the members? And what we'll talk about next are the goals of the center.
Okay. Thank you. If I may, Melissa, this is Steve. I'm particularly sensitive to the fact that not written into either one of these series of roles, but I think can be extrapolated from some of the advice here or some of our roles is that we have also the responsibility to communicate with policymakers on how it is we can continuously improve the landscape for literacy. And that includes resourcing, and that includes better coordination in our laws in service to this work. So I just want to declare, or at least raise that up, because we do have a responsibility to push for more where we can.
Thank you so much. Good point. Kim Healy?
Well, that couldn't have been a better segue into what I had said earlier, which is, we do need those people that are going to be advocating for legislative changes. But the one thing that I had always asked for in the past is, could the center please provide us with deliverables that we can bring to, districts as we go around and meet with different teachers and literacy specialists and superintendents, boards of eds and things like that. I think that having, concise documents that we can share would be really helpful. And then just to tag on to the comment about, I've been getting feedback from some of the implementation of the programs at different schools. Where on our agenda is that going to, are we going to have, how do you want us to communicate them to you? Obviously, we should do it in public, right? And not just email them to you. So is there going to, going forward, be an agenda item that allows for that time?
Yes, at the last few meetings of last year, we added for the good of the order. We're going to expand that time frame, Kim, so that we have plenty of time to address some of the challenges. We may ask you in advance just to, when you're CCing or responding to the invite to the meeting, to just say, yes, I have a few items, so that we will make sure that we allot enough time for the number of people that may want to speak, and perhaps even present some challenges for our own discussion and problem solving.
Great. Could I just ask, could we just have just a minute of conversation about the title "For the Good of the Order"? It's a little confusing to a lot of people. Can we call it, normally on a board meeting, whatever, you would have member comment or something a little more that is a little clearer to what we're actually going to be doing under that topic item?
we certainly could entertain that. We want clarity in our communication, both verbal and written. So thank you. Dr. Hickey?
Okay, thank you. So moving on here. The council, we work together to create goals not only for the council, but also for the center. So we created together 2 documents. One is the strategy, the K-3 strategy, as well as the plan for the center. And when you go to the plan, you will see where it is drilled down as to when certain things will be accomplished by what date. And it really revolves all around, we have like 20 pages of legislative mandates that we are responsible for in the center. So really taking those and putting them into a document form. Not all are there. There are some reports and things like that that we have to also do, but all things in that plan. You'll see here 3 basic goals are increase the kindergarten through grade 3 student access, which we've talked about is our whole goal as well, to culturally responsive, scientifically based, evidence-based teaching and learning, serve as that collaborative research center. This is an area we really want to start digging deeper into, and so happy to know we have so many researchers on board here on our council to serve as that research center to really strengthen the Ed Prep program. We know that Dr. Olden talked about that Ed Prep program as well as Dr. Coyne being involved with that as well, and all around that MTSS framework. What can we put in practice that can support all kids and lift all kids? And then, of course, share that responsibility of birth through grade 12 literacy education, including the promotion of whole family literacy well-being. So those are the goals there. Next. So what do these goals look like? Dr. Stoltz, did you want to talk about these, or do you want me to continue? Our
Please
goals.
continue.
Okay. All right, so these are the council goals, and we've decided these as a group. This was what the former council did decide. We went through 2 iterations of goals. The second time we decided to keep some on here. Others we revised. So the first is to review. So this we would be doing together. We did have many articles. We had Dr. Coyne talked. We had Dr. Tullis come in. Jewel, she's in the dyslexia, the ODRD, the Office of Reading Disabilities and Dyslexia here at the State Department of Education. Anyway, so review and research, and we had the Hanover research as well. But review and research and analyze successful birth through grade 12 evidence-based literacy strategies and instruction. Having districts come in and talk as well. Policy, build, we really still want to build on that strategy to include birth through grade 12. And at a later date, we will have a conversation about these goals and do we want to keep them as the council as it's constituted now? Do we want to shift them around? Like I said, we'll have that conversation about evaluating and identifying supports for schools and districts, and regarding that assessment and instruction, and then also that community support and communicate all those activities that we're working on, the information that we send out, and the services provided by the center. So those were the council goals for last year. Oops, I keep reaching for my mouse over here, and I forgot I moved it here. Last but not least, this is something else that we will have a conversation around, was the adopted council norms. We did this previously as a council, and then every time we met, we would have these up in our PowerPoint, reflect upon them, and then move on into our agenda. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Stoltz.
Thank you, Dr. Hickey. I think this slide is a great segue to our topic that we're going to just spend a little bit of time on, which emanates from the book Crucial Conversations, Tools for Talking When the Stakes Are High. We are now in a high stakes council because we are working on behalf of reading skills for all of our students, every Connecticut child. So there is a lot that we're investing in our time from the council's work previously to this council. So many of you may have read the book, you may have used some of the strategies, and I want you to reflect upon some of those strategies that you may have already used quite successfully. We will have times when we disagree. We will have times when we're asked to solve problems on behalf of either the council or implementation concerns that districts are encountering. So I think this structure provides us with a little bit of insight into how to have our message come across to one another. So if you, I think we'll start with just this slide first. I'd like you to just take a minute to kind of read through these first 5 of 10. The second slide has another 5 key strategies, and think about what might resonate with you. And hopefully you'll use the raise hand button to maybe make a contribution on behalf of the council to explore a strategy of these 5 that actually worked for you in a challenging situation. So take a minute just to read through. Would anybody like to venture to offering a thought, an opinion, a feeling, or an example? Okay, I'm learning to look, so of course I'm paying attention to the group here. So let's move on to the second slide, please. Oop. And here we have 5 additional strategies that maybe some of you have used. Certainly, if you have a minute, take a look at some of these strategies, and hopefully you'll have maybe an example to offer to the council. Anybody interested in sharing?
I'll share. So I think Ashley here.
Yes, thank you, Ashley.
When we are all, so I like the state your path, explore others' paths, and that we all have lived experiences and values and knowledge and experiences that we bring to these really important conversations, and centering both your lived experiences, but being really intentional about creating space for the lived experiences of others. And I think really that practice of asking an open-ended question, I think is really, really important. And it's something that I think we model this with our students that we teach as being inquiry and reflective. And I think it's a good reminder that that's the way to accomplish the most good, is to have that posture.
Well stated. Thank you, Ashley. Dr. Hickey.
Thank you. I'm just going to piggyback off of Ashley to establish what she was discussing. I feel like it's important that we make this a safe space so that we can have those conversations. And that was on this slide, the previous slide here, which was the make it safe, creating that safe environment for dialogue, showing respect and concerns for others' opinions, and clarifying your own intentions, which I think also works well with that practice active listening, so that you can be asking these clarifying questions and really building that trust and then having that mutual purpose, which would be our goals. So these are so entwined.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Stephen?
Thank you for that. It strikes me that as the council, we are also, as someone mentioned earlier, stewards of what we are hearing in practice, in implementation on the ground. And as such, we are reading that room. We are looking at that room, looking at the faces there, and we know that they are asking us to move to action. And part of that action is to recognize how difficult it has been in a lot of our districts to get to even where they are now in terms of changing the way they do business, in terms of realigning resources. Resources are stressed across the state. So it's very present to me that move to action and reading the rooms that we are in outside of this council work together as well. And I always want the viewer, because these are public conversations that we are having. We're not in a little room by ourselves. I want the viewer to know that it is their values that we are sharing and communicating about, and that the space is safe for their experiences to also be reflected here in these meetings.
Thank you so much. I think that's a pertinent example. Appreciate that. Anyone else? So I'm going to jump in with number 7 as well, move to action. Our council, even though we begin our meeting as we will in October with using Robert's Rules of Order for the draft agenda, etc., we actually use consensus to make a decision on our next move as a council. And so the discussions that we reveal here should showcase the differences and the similarities in our own knowledge base and perspectives. So active listening, number 10, will absolutely be required of everyone here. A willingness to explore how others are thinking, and that open-endedness of taking somebody else's perspective, walking in their shoes, if I could use that meta. We are sharing our own perspective, even though it may be different than ours, is that we build our own repertoire. We are building our own knowledge base and expertise, which actually can help to expand the skill set of our council. Any other comments before we move on?
Ashley Oldham just notified me that my email that she's having a fire drill. So she needs to step out of her place of business there at the school and will come back as soon as possible.
Thank you.
The reality, is it not? The reality.
The reality. Okay, then we're going to move. Thank you all for your comments and your perceptions, quite valuable. Let's move to the next slide, please. So, Kim, we may be entertaining a change in name for the good of the order, but this time, obviously, maybe not today, though we do have time to take some feedback now, if you do have it, even though it's our first meeting. This is a time to provide the larger group with some experiences, questions, concerns that you have encountered out there in the field. So I'll open it up to our group. Again, please use the raise hand button if you have anything you'd like to contribute. Kim?
So I think I'll wait and prepare something for the next meeting. But I think for all of us here, it'd be really good to hear what's happened over the last 4 months with, you know, new school year that started, right? All the school districts would have had to make decisions. It might be good to know, and we can report then what we're hearing out to districts that we meet with.
Excellent, thank you.
If you want,
Melissa.
yeah, I'm sorry. If you want, we, and actually Dr. Conway was part of this, districts came forward and created webinars around their experiences, and we have all of those posted. So I can share with you the website address, and you can actually hear and see the journeys of the schools, many of the schools to date. So that's really exciting work going on there.
Thank you, Dr. Hickey. I think that would be phenomenal. And is your plan to, how are you going to share that? Right now?
Well, yeah, I can actually pull it up right now. I see that Kim has her hand up, so I'll do this right now, and I can show you all where it is. And I can just, because we haven't had this conversation yet with the new people, I can show you where we actually have that dedicated website for the Reading Council. You can look to make sure your name is displayed appropriately as well. So I'll pull that up right now, if you don't mind.
Okay, and Kim, while Melissa is pulling that up, you have a comment?
I was just going to say another thing that would be helpful is if things like this are provided to us as they become public, I guess. You know, if there are articles being written about, you know, different experiences with the reading legislation or communications with districts, I know I would appreciate being copied on them so that we know exactly, you know, what the districts are hearing from the State Department.
Thank you.
So this is the center's website. We are revising it with the help of Matt Falconer, who you see, whose picture's here. He works in the communications department. He helps us by accessing this YouTube channel. He helps us by recording and then posting all of our meetings. He also helps us with all of the website related postings and materials and the actual creation. We will have a new updated, just like as you see here, we have this new CT Gov. This will be replaced with CT Education. But anyways, we have everything posted here about various things, Kim, that you were referencing. Right here on the top is that Infinite Possibilities Doing This Together webinar series. And you can see all the different webinars. You can see here, there's quotes that we pulled out, the team pulled out regarding some of the common themes across both the master class as well as in this Infinite Possibilities and our Right to Read ARPA leadership series that we did the professional learning on that I talked about a lot, I know, last year. So here you can not only see the webinars that they recorded, these schools and districts, but also, like I said, some of the common quotes across around the changes they are making. So that's pretty exciting. And then if you want to look at our specific for the council, that was here under the center, and you can click right here for the Reading Council. You can see all the members, so if you don't mind just checking later to make sure that you are appropriately listed there. All of our meetings, minutes, and agendas are posted here. Everything is recorded. If anyone wants to watch us, it's also always here as well, and you can watch right here by clicking on the link. And then here with the resources, so here's the literacy plan that I was referencing that outlines the goals and all of the strategies and when they'll be completed. And that was created by this group as well. So thank you all. I'll stop sharing that.
Kim?
Yep. Could we have all the reading, the specific, the Right to Read stuff that you just had somewhere else where I couldn't really see because it was small? Could you have that linked under resources under our page so that we can send people directly to us instead of having them to send them to two different places?
The Infinite, the webinars?
Well, anything that you had on that first page that related to, I guess it was, you said district's comments about, is that about implementation of the Right to Read?
Well, it's about the professional learning. It's about different structures they're putting in place. It's about the programs and the curriculum models. It's about what they're doing in the districts. I don't think we would do that. I can send you the link so that you could go to that.
Well, it's not me that wants to go to it. It would be referring people to it that have questions about how things are going. It just, I mean, if they're directly related to the work that we're doing, it would be good to have at least couldn't they under resources have a line item that says, linking to the other page and just identify what they will be linked to, comments about the programs and such like that?
Well, let me see, because I do think it's on it's one of the main boxes right now. I can have a conversation with our communications department. I know, there's only certain things that we can do based on the platform that we have. But right here, you can see here's the Reading Council. If you wanted to click here, here's the Infinite Possibilities. It's right on our cover page for the center, the very first.
So where is I don't see the Reading Council on that.
Right here, right here. It's one of the main buttons there, Reading Council.
Oh, not along the left. I'm looking along the left here so the left does not match the boxes on the page. I see.
Right, these are some of the main buttons, and then these are some of the other things that have come along.
Mm-hmm. And so where did you go then from there to get to that other page?
Just right here on the top, the very first one, Infinite Possibilities, doing this together. We could also have the districts come and talk.
Sorry?
I said we could have districts come and talk too. You want me to click on this?
Well, maybe you need to rename that so that people know that within that link is information about the Right to Read implementation.
Well, if you don't mind, why don't you put together maybe some thoughts that you could email to me and I could share with our communications department if you're finding this, if you think there's a more
Well, I
effective
just think
way.
maybe linking the two, right? So that people aren't having to go, it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot even for me, and I've been on the site a bunch of times. So it would just be easier if they're commenting about our legislation. It would just be, maybe make sense to have it in the same place.
Well, like I said, we are in the midst of changing this over. So if you have ideas, then please do email me your ideas, and then I can share it with our communications department. It also reminds me, and I don't know, Dr. Stolz, if you want to talk about the policy that we have about emailing, or do you want me to talk about it?
You can continue.
Okay, so when you email everyone, so if we have a group email, so for example, our invites, or when Kati sends out our agendas, if you respond to everyone and then people start a conversation, that is deemed a public meeting. So we can't do that. Because it hasn't been posted, people aren't aware, and there is a lot of interest around the work we're doing. So if you have a question, if you don't mind emailing me, and then I can direct it to the correct person or see if I can answer the question. But once you email the group, then it does count as a meeting, and we can't do that. So I just wanted to remind everyone of that. That was something we talked about a couple of times last time.
Thank you, Dr. Hickey.
Thank you.
Was anything else that you wanted to share before we go to the next slide?
I do not think so. Are there any questions about what I showed? And like I said, I can definitely share the link. You know what we'll do is we'll put it in the minutes since I went there, and then you'll have it linked right in the minutes for everyone.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments or information that you've received as individuals for the good of the order before we move on to our schedule? Okay, thank you. Next slide, please. So we have a series of dates that we have here. Today we allocated 2 hours just in case that extra hour was needed. Typically we meet for 90 minutes. So the first question that I know Dr. Hickey and I have is ensuring that Yasmin, that you are able to be a part of our council at the times we've specified, and wondered if we shifted to 2 o'clock, from 2 o'clock to 3:30, if that would be easier for you as a teacher. So it's actually a direct question to you.
Yeah, the 2 o'clock to 3:30 would work better.
Okay. All right, that's awesome. For 2 o'clock to 3:30, is there anybody on the council who that time is not convenient? Okay, excellent. So we have agreed upon 2 o'clock to 3:30, ensuring that Yasmin can be a part of our regular meetings. So we're thrilled.
Just a question on that. Is that for, as I'm looking at, is that for that particular day or moving forward?
It would be every meeting that we've established in the dates listed. So we are virtual. We have many members of the council that would have an inordinate travel length of time spent in the car to get here. So we are hopeful that we can continue in a virtual format, but I would like to ensure that we get diverse perspectives on having virtual meetings if in case we have to consider hybrid. So any comments?
Just put
Are
the,
we voting on hybrid or, I mean, are you asking for feedback on if we would prefer hybrid?
Just feedback. We're not voting on anything.
Yeah, I didn't mean to
We
say
just-
voting. So, as of,
No, that's okay.
for returning members, obviously, I was a big fan of hybrid.
I just want to ensure that we capture everyone's perspectives on virtual meetings. Obviously, many of us will continue virtual, but just wanted to see if there was any discussion around hybrid.
I'm open to either. I think it's just important that we have that flexibility if needed.
Yes, that will always be the case, Chandra, just ensuring that we want total participation. And so whichever mechanism works, being in the room, whether it's virtual or in reality, works. So thank you. Any other questions? Okay, so these are the meeting dates. I believe you may have already, or maybe not yet, received invitations to those dates. We will be sending those out to hold the new time, 2 o'clock to 3:30 on your calendars. Dr. Hickey, any other comments or concerns?
No, I'll just reiterate how excited I am about the new year together and the next 2 years. I thank you so much for your time and your expertise. I look forward to sharing the successes as well as the challenges and sharing with you all the amazing things that the districts and the schools and the State Department and the center are doing to support the schools and the districts and to assist one another. Like Dr. Conway said, actually districts getting together and having these conversations and lifting each other up. So thank you all so much for the time that you're devoting and donating to this purpose. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be great. And Dr. Stoltz, thank you again for agreeing to facilitate. That is much appreciated, so I can be a better participant instead of doing the PowerPoint and trying to lead a meeting and doing all these other things. Kati does take our notes and then she sends them to everyone to review ahead of time. And then we'll have conversations at the next meeting if you feel like there are things that need to be changed or edited. I think that's all. So thank you so much for your support. So glad you were able to come today and be part of this exciting work.
Thank you,
all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And hopefully you've experienced a very smooth September. So
Yes.
Enjoy the rest of the week.
All right. Thank you all.
Everyone.
Have a great
Good to
rest of the
see you
week,
all.
everyone.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.